Fantastic Mr. Fox. I'm trying to remember where we got up to. I think the last thing we read, we met Badger, didn't we? So that means we are on Bunce's Giant Storehouse. I think that's right. So far, Mr. Fox was down in his house. They came and tried to dig him out. They shot him, got his tail, tried to dig him out, got the big mechanical diggers. All the foxes did lots of digging down. Then Mr. Fox had his plan and has dug down and went to, where did he go to? Boggis's? Is it Boggis's chicken house? Let's have a look. Boggis's chicken house number 1. Got some chickens, sent them home to Mrs. Fox, who was very happy. Then they've just met Badger. Okie doke. So, Bunce's Giant Storehouse. My dear Foxy, cried Badger. What in the world happened to your tail? Don't talk about it, please, said Mr. Fox. It's a painful subject. They were digging the new tunnel. They dug on in silence. Badger was a great digger, and the tunnel went forward at a terrific pace now that he was lending a paw. Lending a paw. Imagine Bella digging. Bella's not very good, is she, at that? Unless she's going to bury something in the borders. Soon they were crouching underneath yet another wooden floorboard. Mr. Fox grinned slyly, showing sharp white teeth. If I'm not mistaken, my dear Badger, he said, we are now underneath the farm which belongs to the nasty pot-bellied dwarf Bunce. We are in fact directly underneath the most interesting part of his farm. Ducks and geese, cried the small foxes, licking their lips. Juicy, tender ducks and big fat geese. Exactly, said Mr. Fox. But how in the world can you know where we are, said Badger. Mr. Fox grinned again, showing even more white teeth. Blimey, he's got loads of teeth. Gah, it's like a shark. Look, he said, I know my way around these farms blindfolded. For me, it's just as easy below ground as it is above it. He reached high and pushed up one wooden floorboard, then another, poked his head through the gap. Yes, he shouted, jumping into the room above. I've done it. Again. I've hit it smack on the nose, right in the bullseye. Come and look. So he should be ducks and geese. Look. All the storeroom, look, it's full of them. Quickly, Badger and the 3 small foxes scrambled up after him. They stopped and stared and stood and gaped. They were so overwhelmed they couldn't speak. For what they now saw was a kind of fox's dream, a badger's dream, and a paradise for hungry animals. This, my dear old Badger, proclaimed Mr. Fox, is Bunce's mighty storehouse. All his finest stuff is stored in here before it goes off to market. Against all the 4 walls of the great room, stacked into cupboards and piled upon shelves reaching from floor all the way to the ceiling. You get a lot of stuff if it goes all the way to the ceiling. Were thousands and thousands of the finest and fattest ducks and geese, plucked and ready for roasting. And up above, dangling from the rafters, there must have been at least 100 smoked hams and 50 sides of bacon. Feast your eyes on that, cried Mr. Fox, dancing up and down. What do you think of it, eh? Pretty good grub. Where my mum lives in Spain, where Nanny lives, they have big hams like that as well. And they have them in the kitchen, they just take a bit off them. Suddenly, as though springs had been released in their legs, the 3 hungry small foxes and the ravenous, hungry Badger sprang forward to grab the luscious food. Stop, ordered Mr. Fox. This is my party, so I shall do the choosing. The others fell back, licking their chops. Mr. Fox began prowling around the storehouse, examining the glorious display with an expert eye. A thread of saliva, a bit of slobber, slid down one side of his jaw and hung suspended in mid-ear. Then snapped. We mustn't overdo it, he said. We mustn't give the game away. We mustn't let them know that what we've been up to. We must be neat and tidy and only take a few of the choicest morsels. So to start with, we'll have 4 plump young ducks. He took them from the shelf. Oh, how lovely and fat they are. No wonder Bunce gets a special price for them in the market. All right, Badger, lend me a hand to get them down. Your children can help as well. You children can help as well. I was thinking Badger didn't have his children there. You children can help as well. There we go. Goodness me. How your mouths are watering. And now, I think we'll have a few geese. 3 will be quite enough. We'll take the biggest. Oh my, we never did see a finer geese than these in the king's kitchen. Gently does it, that's the way. What about a couple of these nice smoked hams? They're getting loads, aren't they? I adore smoked ham, don't you, Badger? Fetch me that step ladder, will you, please? Fox climbed the ladder and handed down 3 magnificent hams. I'm mad about bacon, cried Badger, dancing with excitement. Let's have a side of bacon, that big one there. And carrots, Dad, said the smallest of the 3 small foxes. We must take some of those carrots. Don't be a twerp, said Mr. Fox. You know we never eat things like that. It's not for us, Dad, it's for the rabbits. They only eat vegetables. My goodness, you are right, cried Mr. Fox. What a thoughtful little fellow you are. Take 10 bunches of carrots. Soon all the lovely loot was lying in a neat heap on the floor. The small foxes crouched close and their nose twitching noses, and their eyes shining like stars. Don't think I can make my eyes shine like stars. No, just make big eyes. And now, Mr. Fox, we shall have to borrow from our friend Bunce 2 of these useful push carts in the corner. He and Badger fetched the push carts, and the ducks and the geese and the hams were loaded onto them, and quickly the push carts were lowered down through the hole in the floor. Oh, how much they've got? Where are they? There you are. Loads. And I've had to put them onto these trolleys. They've called them push carts. They're kind of like big trolleys, like the big ones you get in B&Q, aren't they? The animals slid down after them. Back in the tunnel, Mr. Fox again pulled the floorboards very carefully into place, so no one would see that they'd been moved. My darlings, he said, pointing to 2 of the 3 small foxes, take a cart each and run back as fast as you can to your mother. Give her my love and tell her we're having guests for dinner. The badgers, the moles, the rabbits and the weasels. Tell her it must be a truly great feast. Tell her the rest of us will be home as soon as we've done one more little job. Yes, Dad. Right away, Dad, they answered, and they grabbed a trolley each and went rushing off down the tunnel. Oh, chapter 14. Badger has doubts. I think these chapters are a little bit longer, aren't they? Just one more visit, cried Mr. Fox. Well, I'll bet I'll know where that'll be, said the only small fox left. He was the smallest of them all. Where? Asked Badger. Well, said the smallest fox, we've been to Boggis and we've been to Bunce, but we haven't been to Bean. It must be Bean. You're right, said Mr. Fox, but what you don't know is which part of Bean's place we're about to visit. Which? They both said together. Aha, said Mr. Fox, just wait and see. They were digging as they talked. The tunnel was going forward fast. Suddenly Badger said, doesn't this worry you a tiny bit, Foxy? Worry me, said Mr. Fox. What? All this stealing. Mr. Fox suddenly stopped digging and stared at Badger, as though he'd gone completely dotty. I like it, completely dotty. My dear old furry frump, he said, do you know anyone in the whole world who wouldn't swipe a few chickens if their children were starving to death? There was a short silence while Badger thought deeply about this. You're far too respectable, said Mr. Fox. There's nothing wrong with being respectable, Badger said. Look, said Mr. Fox, Boggis and Bunce and Bean are out to kill us. You realise that, I hope? I do, Foxy, I do indeed, said the gentle Badger. We're not going to stoop to their level. We don't want to kill them. I should hope not indeed, said Badger. Mr. Fox is explaining it all up. We wouldn't dream of it, said Mr Fox. We shall simply take a little food here and there to keep our families alive. All right? I suppose we'll have to, said Badger. If they want to be horrible, let them, said Mr Fox. We down here are decent, peace-loving people. Badger laid his head to one side and smiled at Mr Fox. Foxy, he said, I love you. Thank you, said Mr Fox. Now let's get on with the digging. 5 minutes later, Badger's front paws hit against something hard and flat. What on earth is this? He said. It looks like a stone wall. He and Mr Fox scraped away the soil. It was a wall. It was built of bricks and not stones. The wall was right in front of them, blocking their way. Who on earth would build a wall under the ground, said Badger. Very simple, said Mr Fox. It's the wall of an underground room, and if I'm not mistaken, it's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to stop there because them chapters seemed a bit longer. When we come back, we have got Bean's secret cider cellar. I think Adie'd quite like to find Bean's secret cider cellar. But I've got to go find Bear because I didn't bring him in with me today. See you later.